much bigger than me, and he sprawled on my head. And, there you go.
And that's where it all ended. Then you suddenly get married, and you suddenly have a child, and your life is suddenly changed forever.
Well, no, actually, I was going to...
How do you go from fighter to in love and married and child? There's like a huge gap here that I'm missing.
Well, the thing is I went to Thailand in 2011, at the very end of 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And I met my husband in 2011. And then I had a fight, I think in March or April of 2012. And so I met my husband in 2011. And then I fought in March or April of 2012. And then he came to the U.S. in May of 2012 to live here permanently. And, then we got married shortly after, and
you were in love, and it was all over.
Yeah, we're going on 5 years of marriage. This June will be our 5-year anniversary.
That's crazy. Crazy. 5 years. Making it the most successful relationship ever for you. Way to go, kid. So you're down the road. Your son is listening to this somewhere in the often distant future. But, Mom, how come you didn't fight again? Did you give it all up because of me? What would you say if he's listening to this 10 years as he's scoping through the internet and he's looking at your Wikipedia page and going, is this really you?
Honestly, you can only, I'll just tell him that I really wanted to spend as much time with him as possible because, your kid is only 6 months one time in your life. He's never going to be younger than he is today.
Right.
And they get bigger and bigger every day. And my kid's already my kid is already wearing 3 and 4T clothing, and he's 13 months. So he's already a huge baby. He was 2 feet long when he was born. So forget him being a cute newborn. When he was 6 months old, he was already looked like a 1-year-old. So, people look at my kid and they're like, oh my gosh, look at this 3-year-old so misbehaving. Lady, my kid's 1 year old, okay? So I don't want to go to malls and have my kid play with random other kids because I'm pretty sure I'll get into a fist fight with the moms.
You think that it doesn't really work out that way. I've already been down this road for you, so I can safely tell you it goes through your mind a lot where you get, kind of your teeth up where you think you're going to do something. And ultimately, every time that happens, you kind of have to do my job is to get the child home safe. Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather put my kid in an organized something or other because I've heard of moms getting in fist fights at malls and stuff. And, I live out in the Bay Area. There's not a lot of malls here that you can say are safe to bring your kid to.
All right. So I'm going to let you time capsule this. It's 15 years in the future. Your son is 16 years old. He's scoping the internet or it's plugged into his brain or God knows how it'll be 15 years from today. But this is still floating around on some Apple product somewhere cataloged in the future. You now have an open forum to leave a time capsule for your son in the future. What would you say to him?
Wow, Lee, way to build up the pressure.
I know, right?
So the reason why I would tell my kid that I, stopped fighting was, like I said, I just want to spend as much time with him as possible because he will never be this young again. He will never be this little again. And I'm just trying to enjoy and savor every moment. And I know that sounds super duper cheesy, but
it's
for
awesome.
all you people out there that don't have kids, you'll understand once you have a kid or once you adopt. And if you do have kids, you know exactly where I'm coming from.
I do. Well, okay, here's the question. So you and your husband are both fighters. I mean, there's no way around it. Are we going to just be happy if he decides to play clarinet in the band? Or is he...
You know what?
Or is he taking grappling at age 3? Is he on the wrestling team?
I'm going to put him in as many different sports as possible. He's already, really super active. But, I'm just going to roll with the punches, I have a friend, and I don't know how I would deal with this as a parent, but she has a little boy who is now, she has a little girl who wants to be a boy. And I guess, Yeah, and I don't know how I would deal with that as a parent. So, you know, I mean,
happy, healthy, give them a hug. All you can do is happy, healthy.
Right, yeah. And so, you know, I mean, I want to say I want my kid to play this sport and I want my kid to play that sport and I want him to do this and that and be a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. Part of me wants him to play professional sports and part of me doesn't. I mean, I'll be happy if he just plays college sports. But heck, I mean, if he doesn't play sports in college, then I'll totally be okay with that. You know, but I know sports really helped me through high school, especially since I changed high schools a couple times. So, you know, sports always kind of like helped me meet new people and, you know, whatnot. So keeps you out of trouble. So I am going to put my kid in as many sports as possible. You know, I don't know.
I know, I'm with you. I mean, my daughter's taken gymnastics for as long as I can humanly remember. And the only conversation that you're going to have, which I had, was, do you know the difference between a participation trophy and first, second, and third? And she looked at me.
No, if he ever comes home with a participation certificate, I'm going to light it on fire or throw it in the garbage and tell him, like, you know, I'm not going to say, if you ain't first, you're last. I'm not going to be,
I'm not that crazy,
Ricky
but
Bobby.
She definitely knew the difference. She was aware of, I want to be in the top half because that's the only way to get points, and that's how I get ranked. I'm like, okay. I just want to make sure that, are we here because you just want to do it, or are we here to win? Because we're here to win. Okay, cool. That's all I'm checking in. I just want to know, from a dad standpoint, how crazy you want me to be about this. I'm not going to... I
mean, and I'm not going to bend over backwards for a sport that he's just doing because, you know, his best
fun.
friend's doing. I mean,
absolutely.
If he's not serious about it, I'm not going to waste my Saturday going to a T-ball.
Yes, you
or,
will.
you know, some
Yes, you will, because it's adorable.
Tournament.
It's adorable anyway. Come on, I went to so many... I can say this safely. I went to so many repetitive classes of gymnastics just to sit there and watch my daughter. It took me years to the point of, all right, I'm just dropping you off. I'm going to go to the gym around the corner. I'll be back in 3 hours. It took a lot of time for me to get away from that because it's cute. It's my kid. Look at her doing the flips and this. It's cute. How can you not see that? Look, I don't care if it's T-ball. It's cute. Hit the ball. It's cute.
Oh, no, I totally understand.
It lasts a long time. And then by the time you actually appreciate it, it's all over. And then they're getting ready to be 13. And then and
they don't want to, they're embarrassed to be around you. And
I hate to say it, my daughter might be, my only knock on my daughter on 12 going on 13 in August, she might be too mature. She's got her shit a little too dialed in. I'm like, she's already
got her
talking.
ducks all in a row.
She's talking about college. She knows where she wants.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got projected majors. I know what I got to do. She has a schedule. She's a straight A student. I'm like, breathe. Let's take a day off and go to Disneyland. No, can't do that. Got to go to practice. Okay.
Wow, a little Miss Responsibility over here.
Well, it's a complete difference than me, just flying by the seat of my pants. But at some point, I will have to explain to my daughter the secret of flying by your pants. Flying by your pants will get you a main event in the San Diego Sports Arena if you play it correctly. I mean, it's just how far do you want to go? Sometimes it's okay to just say fuck it and let it all fly and see where the chips fall. And I think people get a little too wound up on, this is what I'm doing. I mean, based on your story, if you had followed any one path for too long, you wouldn't be where you are right now, married and happy and have a beautiful son. Like, you're happy. I mean, as much as you're going a little stir crazy, this is clearly the happiest I've seen you.
Really?
Yeah. You're enjoying it.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, I basically, you know, there is some risks, you know, involved when, you know, especially when you're fighting. You know, anytime you fight somebody, there's a 50% chance that you're going to win or lose. So, you know, a lot of times I think people nowadays, you know, they just automatically think they're going to win, and when they lose, you know, it's the end of the world, and that's just the way it is. And I think, you know, winning and losing, it really, whether you win or lose, it's a big lesson either way. And of course, there's always going to be risk, but with big risk comes big reward. All right. If you learn that lesson, then
I think
you'll be pretty successful.
I'm going to do the lightning round questions. You ready?
Okay.
Do you think it appropriate for every fighter on the face of the planet to thank God for letting me beat this guy up? Where do you stand on that topic? Really?
If it's what they want to do.
It's
what
crazy.
Do, then...
Come on. The first words that you get Okay, let's go back. You beat Gina Carano to a pulp. She's a bloody hulk in the ring. You've destroyed the career of the model. And you're standing there at the end of I'd like to thank God for giving me the ability to beat her up. Really? That's the first place you...
If people want to do that, it's their prerogative.
It's a little crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, but there are some people that do it, and then there's people that don't. So the fact that if everybody did it, it would be it would be on the crazy side, but not everybody does it. So
I don't know why people just don't say, that both of us are happy and healthy after the fight, and I'm just happy that nobody's... Here's my next lightning question, which leads into the next lightning round question. Did death ever cross your mind? Because it's inherent with what we do. There is that risk. I realize it's like a 1%, but we're still talking about, it's on the board.
It never crossed my mind, really. I mean, I always had faith in the referees and my coaches and whatnot, so it never really crossed my mind. But I know it definitely crossed my parents' mind every time they heard I was competing. So, yeah, it's definitely there, and it is a risk that a lot of people don't think about.
Oh, yeah, it's legit. So what's your favorite knockout of all the people you've knocked out?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Who'd you enjoy knocking out the most?
Probably my fight with Carreiro in Oklahoma. That was the most bittersweet.
Okay. What now that you've carried the rank of purple belt, what's your favorite submission?
You know what? The basic.
Why did you laugh? You thought of something else, but
no, I was just gonna say, the basic rear naked to an armbar, but the one that is the most embarrassing for any higher belt to get caught with is an Ezekiel.
Yes. Are you still shocked by
That's the most embarrassing.
The recent Ezekiel trend? Now that we've seen an Ezekiel, did you see the Ezekiel from the bottom that happened at the UFC? Yeah. Is that the crazy? Yeah. Like everybody, for those of you that aren't regular, everybody who wears a gi who walked in the next day and went, "How do I get on the bottom and do that?" And here's exactly the response: you better be really strong. That was an entire. I don't think people understand that.
That was a Hail Mary.
It was a Hail Mary.
That was a Hail Mary. That was that was the last result. You don't want to be on the bottom in an MMA fight. So
that was a crazy move. Final question. If you had to do it all again, would you do it all again?
For sure, in a heartbeat. I would fight at a lower weight class from the start, but, because that's obviously where all the opportunities are at. So, but yeah, I would definitely, for sure.
Now looking back on it, and even where things are right now, who's your dream fight? Or if you could match make, I'm having one last Rocky Balboa match. Who's it against?
Man, I don't know. I would have to take a look at the list, but probably Julia, because we were supposed to and we never did.
And end it right. You could happily ride off into the sunset and be mom at the park and wait for somebody to try to steal your purse and beat him up.
Wait for somebody to steal my purse. No, I mean, if I did one more fight, I'd probably want to do another. I mean, it's like a drug, man. So, you do one, then you want to do another one, then you want to do another one. And it's just, it's, yeah. So, I wouldn't be happy with just, if I did one more fight, I wouldn't be happy with just one more fight. I would want to keep going.
No regrets?
No regrets.
No regrets at the end of it all?
No.
I appreciate being able to document this for you and throwing this out there and having it out in the ethos. And hopefully in 15 years your son comes back and goes, did they really just do that for me 15 years down the road? Yeah, really did do it for you because you got me into a gi, and hopefully 15 years down the road, I should be a black belt by then, right? I'd be